Let's go back to the Duel Monsters era to take a look at the most generic tech archetype ever to exist in the game up until now. And that is the Captain archetype, which was first used in the anime by this irrelevant fellow known as Gurimo from Duel Monsters Season 4, that being the ever so lovely Orichalcos arc. And yeah, let's get on with it, shall we? It's like I said, a generic tech archetype, so let's see how generic. First of which we have Motivating Captain. It's a level 1 with 400 attack and 1200 defense, and when this card is normal summoned, you can target one level 4 or lower monster in your graveyard and special summon it in defense position, but it has its effects negated. And yeah, you can pretty much see how this tech archetype is generic, since this card can basically revives any level 4 monster or lower monster in the game at the cost of its effects being negated and brings it up in defense position. But for a level 1, which isn't even a tuner, I would have actually loved this eons more if this was actually a tuner, so you could basically bring out a low level synchro with this thing's effects. But seeing as it's not a tuner, the best thing you can use it for is link plays, so I guess there are worse things to consider. Now, the main meat of this archetype is Marauding Captain, the poster boy of this archetype. Your opponent cannot target warrior monsters for attacks except this one. When this card is normal summoned, you can special summon one level 4 or lower monster from your hand. And yes, this also works on any monster, as you can see. That's why it's called a generic tech archetype. But this thing was actually limited and semi-limited several times throughout the past because of the first effect. Seeing that Marauding Captain can with its effects bring out another Marauding Captain, means that you can pretty much set up a very easy attack lock on the opponent, since the opponent will not be able to attack at all, since you control two Marauding Captains. Not to mention the fairly decent generic warrior support the game received throughout the years, making Marauding Captain the definitive face of Rhoda. And by the way, Marauding Captain is indeed searchable by Rhoda, since he is level 3. And provided with some decent equip cards for warriors, it can turn Marauding Captain into a fairly decent beatstick. He's also searchable by Warrior Lady of the Wasteland, and yeah, I'm probably going way too deep into this, but yeah, the card sure has a long history behind it, and even today it sees some niche play in some form of fashion. So yeah, definitely do run this if you feel like your deck needs just a tad more hand consistency. Anyway, next up we have their final level 3 Marmiting Captain. It has the exact same stats as Marauding Captain, but this has the slightly different effect. When this card is normal summoned, you can shuffle one card from your hand into the deck, then draw one card, and if it is a monster, you can special summon it. So yeah, not to mention that this is actually a pretty good effect. Overall, it's actually a bit worse than the original Marauding Captain, which lets you pick the low-level monster you want to summon at will. Although this one is not limited to level 4 or lower monsters, meaning you can bring out some nasty tribute monsters with this thing's effect. If you're playing a monster mash deck, that is, because if it's not a monster, you just basically performed an even 0, since you don't get to discard or remove the card you just drew from your hand. And so yeah, it doesn't hurt, but Marauding Captain is still a better option in my opinion. Now we move on to a bit more specific support with Field Commander Raz. It's their first level 4, has 1600 attack and 1200 defense. And when this card is normal or special summoned, choose one level 4 or lower warrior type monster from your deck except Field Commander Raz and place it on the top of your deck. Top decking a warrior monster with this much availability, since this thing, for its age, has the effect which applies when it's normal or special summoned, meaning that this effect for what it does was way ahead of its time, since these kinds of effects which go off when a monster is normal or special summoned were introduced much more frequently way later down the line. And as it is now, yeah, it works with some niche divination gimmick shenanigans. And yeah, if you have some way to circumvent the warrior being top deck and rather being added into your hand, such as when Necrovalley is on the field, that a Cat of Ill Omen adds a trap from straight up to your hand, except by instead of top decking it, and it would see much more play. But seeing as this thing has not seen play since its age-old meta where warrior monsters were heavily dominant and this kind of effect was considered good, we can safely assume that there are no ways to circumvent a warrior being top deck and just straight up add it to our hand. So yeah, but if you feel like playing a bit of a slower format, Field Commander Raz is a perfectly fine tech option for your deck. And next up, the final monster is a very big oddball, and that is Muscle Medic. This is a level 4 with 2200 attack and 100 defense. And if a player would take battle damage from battles involving this card, they gain that much life points instead. Okay, so you can either ram this thing into other stuff to boost your own life points and maybe support the Fire Princess burn OTK, or you can boost the opponent's life points to when beating over the weak monsters in order to abuse the effect of self-destruction button. Yeah, sure, the latter of which is banned, so yeah, the only relevant and legal usage of this thing is the Fire Princess burn OTK, and there are much way better ways to go around it, and I have no idea why this thing is part of this archetype. Maybe because it's mimicking Marauding Captain in its posture? Yeah, that's a very lame way to make this card a part of its archetype. So, no. Don't run this. Alright, so how should we handle the grades? I'm actually gonna give a consistency and versatility a 2 out of 3, while giving everything else a 1 out of 3. Consistency because Marauding Captain's effect can actually kickstart some potentially slower decks even today with it, with this kind of special summoning effect. Is basically a public use Satellar Knight Vega in that regard. And the versatility part because Marauding Captain, like Solar Flare Dragon, has that little attack lock, which is still a very powerful lockdown effect. So there's that option if you want to make a fun attack lock deck. And yeah, that was this little archetype, the Captain archetype. So yeah, I'm not sure if we'll be ever getting an archetype, a tech archetype this generic, like Marauding Captain, well, the Captain cards in general were. Probably not, due to the sheer amount of fantastically good cards which can abuse these effects and potentially get themselves or these kinds of cards banned. But we'll just have to wait and see. That's always how it goes. And yeah, that was my final video for today. I recorded like 5 videos today. Damn, that's a lot. So yeah, I recorded the fundraiser video, which you should actually check it out because it's really good. I recorded the Goblin archetype analysis, the Force archetype analysis, this video, and lastly the damn it, I already forgot, the Freed archetype analysis. Yeah. And yeah, that was pretty much it for this video. Thank you all so much for watching. Stay tuned for more videos, workers and updates. Comment, like, and subscribe. And as usual, I'll upload the next vid whenever I can. See you all. Have a good day and peace.